Now, if you know me, you know that I'm into really cheap shinai. I'm not the kind of person to buy a really fancy, extravagant shinai. The first fancy shinai I ever had, I definitely didn't use for very long. It broke fairly quickly. It was one of those madake, or I think it was a bio-treated shinai that I got from Japan. After that, at some point, I got one of those octagonal-shaped ones, and I got one of the kinds where there's more weight on the inside of it rather than the outside, so that way it's supposedly supposed to be quicker. I didn't really notice that much of a difference. Any kind of difference in the shinai, I feel like I can make a little bit of a change in my technique if I want to correct off whatever difference the shinai makes. So I'm the kind of person to frequent ebogu and buy their cheapest practice shinai, and then add another shinai just staves only, so that way I get a set of shinai with parts, leather parts included, and shinai staves, because I'm sure I'm going to need to change them out a whole lot, because for whatever reason I tend to break through shinai a whole lot even though I oiled them, I'm pretty sure correctly, for this really dry climate, things like that. One thing I seriously hate, and I just cannot stand, I really hate this, is that the shinai leather will start to twist little by little. This is a 3-7 shinai that I use. It's a 3-7 because it's a nito type shinai, right? The daito for nito. I don't use both hands on it, so I'm almost never morote. I'm almost always katate, and still the leather is starting to twist little by little. And the worst thing, the thing that just drives me crazy and I hate it, is when this stuff just twists around this way to the point that the top is here and the middle of the shinai, it just completely curves out that way. It's like freaking my hands out. I don't know which side to hold on to. You know how you can tell on a football just by using the little American football, of course, the little threads on the top. You can tell whether the top of the football's there, you know, what part of the football you're on by using the threads. You can use the threads to grip, that kind of thing. That's why I like the thread on the back of the shinai. I think it's almost like it's there for a purpose, so you can tell where the back is, so you can line up your hasaji or your blade angle a little bit better. And when it's twisted out of control, like it's stupid. I hate it. It's the worst thing, the worst feeling in the world. And I think the reason why it comes like this is because ebogu, even though I love ebogu, I order this shinai like all the time. They gave me just the crappiest kind of leather I've ever seen. I've done a little bit of research on leather, and apparently leather has a little bit different kinds of grains on it, or I think you would call it fibers, densely packed fibers and not so densely packed. The cheaper stuff, the stuff that probably is going to cost a lot less if you buy it in bulk, is not going to have very densely packed fibers. And if you look at this really carefully, you can see how there's almost a dot pattern that you can see because of packed fibers. It isn't really densely packed at all. It's really loosely packed. It's almost like a kind of a felt where you have these little fibers of leather that's just been mashed together, and it's like a felt. It's really light. It's almost thin feeling, and then obviously if I go like this and stretch it, it's going to stretch out of control like some kind of loosely woven fiber. I guess it's almost like cotton or something like that. I really don't like this style. This is a kind where I bought it directly from ebogu as just scut, and it says it's a top quality, it's a higher quality leather, I'm pretty certain. If I look at it, I can tell that the fibers are extremely densely packed. They're super small fibers, which are very densely woven together. If you ever look at the synthetic leather products that are out there, like your synthetic leather kote, synthetic leather men parts and things like that, the fibers are extremely small and extremely densely packed, and I think that has something to do with the reason why it's so much more durable than a lot of real leather, like real cow leather, like this stuff, loosely packed bullshit. I think it's just terrible. It's going to turn around, it's going to spin to the side this way over time. Maybe you have a different kind of grip and it spins around onto the other direction. Maybe one day you just twist it wrong and it flips over, that kind of a thing. I really hate that. Not only that, but the grip, whenever I grip it, it feels like it's going to start abrading my hand little by little. You can hear the sound. It's like this abrasive sound, and it's just terrible. Every time I use this kind of shinai on my hand, it feels like it's wearing down my hand if I'm just using my hand raw without my kote. And I feel like with kote, my kote palm is probably going to wear out a whole lot. With this really densely packed leather, it's almost like once I use it for a long time, it literally looks almost like a sausage or something like that, like a kielbasa. It's really I don't know what you call it. It's almost like just a painted exterior. It's really shiny. It's very slippery almost, and that's the kind of tsuka I would much rather prefer. I really don't like the grip. I don't know why people want literal grip as in roughness or like a traction or tread on their shinai. I honestly don't understand it. When it comes down to it, if I'm not gripping it correctly, I think it's just going to fall out of my hands anyway. I don't think the grip or the tread or something like that on that thing's going to make it any better. It's not like shoes where you want to have a certain tread or grip on the bottom of it. Obviously, it'd be super awkward to use shoes with completely slippery soles like those skate shoes you wore down when you were in middle school because you never wanted to switch over your shoes. You just want to wear the same shoes every single day for all eternity. And at some point, people started to make fun of you, so you decided to change that habit. I don't think that rolls with shinai tsuka. I think it's just the stupidest thing. Why would anyone ever want to use this kind of like grainy leather. I mean, this is the kind of thing that I think you pull on like a new student who doesn't know anything about shinai and still considers shinai tsuka as grip as in gripping and tightly. That's obviously not how tenouchi works in Kendo. It's completely, you only have certain points where you have to grip something tightly. For the majority of the part, you have to, like chikara o nuku, you have to take the power or the grip out of your grip. You have to make it much more looser, more flexible. I mean, that's how I see it. I feel like I've seen it that way for like years and years, and I don't know if it'll ever change at some point. But I've always noticed the better quality or stuff that's touted as higher quality. When I bought like this fancy shinai way back in the day, I'm using this tsuka from that shinai, that marake shinai that I think I bought like way back in the day, and it's still the exact same. Like, it's still usable. It hasn't worn down to the point that the leather itself is unusable. The threads have literally busted off here more than the leather itself, and the leather is completely okay. It's been never worn down. I think part of it's because, one, the actual grain of the leather fibers is really densely packed, really tiny grain. Compared to this stuff, this is uncomparable. I feel like I've spent so many years just buying these practice shinai from Ebogu or from Maruyama or whatever supply company that has a really cheap price, and I always buy it with this stuff included. It's like there's no purpose to even order this. I would much rather order one of these, which is about 20 bucks on Ebogu, top quality leather. It's a much higher quality leather. The fibers are much densely packed. I'd much rather buy one of these, and from here on only buy the bamboo parts of the shinai, those little bamboo packs that come tied up kind of like this. I would much rather buy 4 of these to every one of these, and I'm certain this will probably never break. This will probably never bust for the rest of my life. If I buy 2 of these, when I started out in Kendo, I would probably never have to worry about it ever again unless I wanted to change the size of this or something like that. These things also stretch slightly, I've noticed. This tsuka that I bought like, I don't know, like a million years ago, I feel like it was a little bit shorter. I'm pretty certain because it would always line up the same, or a little bit shorter than other lengths. But over time, as I'd stretch it out, because I put it on a new shinai every single time and stretch out a little bit more. I prefer a longer, more stretched out tsuka anyway, but it doesn't extremely stretch out like crazy like this stuff. This cheap stuff with the fibers all loosely packed and everything like that, it stretches out insanely. Like, if I put it on a shinai handle that's maybe a little bit larger than normal, which I'm not even that kind of a guy. I'm not the kind of person who tries to get really, really huge tsuka, you know, because some people want those AAA, double A, quadruple A, I don't know, like really thick diameter tsuka. If you put this on it, it's going to stretch down and probably never return back to its original shape. That's my guess. I don't know. But this is my rant on this kind of tsuka. It's like, I just feel like it's not even worthwhile. If I could recommend my past self what to do, I would just say, hey, just buy like 3 of these things, and it's going to be like 60 bucks, but you're going to be good for life. From then on, you'll just have to buy these, I'm pretty certain, from then on. But you know, I guess I can't really tell what kind of person I'll be in the future. Maybe someday in the next 2 years I'll start buying really top quality, really high end shinai for tournament use or something like that. But I don't see it in the foreseeable future. I don't know. If this was helpful, leave a like. If this was stupid, leave a comment. Thanks. Peace.